Welcome to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Braylon Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Running pattern to Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Where we bring you the best in sports, entertainment, and insight. Join us every weekday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we break down the latest games, analyze the biggest plays, and dive into the hottest topics in sports. We'll have exclusive interviews with your favorite athletes and guests, and you'll get a front row seat to all the action. So tune in to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Got one-on-one going end zone. Edwards in the air. Oh, what a catch by Braylon Edwards. His second touchdown of the game.
On the Woodward Sports Network, where sports comes to life.
A lot of times when you don't like that the weekend ends, but when you got Mondays in here with good people and spirited conversation, I don't mind it. Welcome, everybody, to the Braylon Edwards Show, Monday through Friday, 2 till 4 here on Woodward Sports. Cam is with us. Kool-Aid's back with us. And the good luck charm is to my right. Friday night, way to go. Way to deliver for the Pistons. And an absolute epic blowout win over the Hawks. How'd you enjoy it?
Too bad I couldn't be in SoFi. I feel like that's where the good luck energy
Yeah,
was needed.
they could have used you, yeah.
It was good. It was good to be at LCA. Like I told you, man, I've been trying to get to more and more events as our teams are doing well. I think it's important to get out.
Yeah.
I think we had enough time from 2014 to 2021 where you're complaining about Pistons sucking, the Red Wings starting to see that decline happen, the Lions being what the Lions are, Michigan, everybody was a mess. So now the teams are good. Like I think it's important to get out. I think it's important to get out. I think it's important to support, especially when you got guys cooking like that. 142 points, and that was a great showing by the Pistons. I didn't, of course, you know me. I didn't see all 142 points, but I saw enough.
I don't blame you there. I don't blame you.
Saw enough, had a good time. But I will tell you this: I'm ready for Christmas. I feel like we've been in that period long enough. I think once you get to Thanksgiving, the thought of Christmas starts to come around. But then there's a long waiting period. Like what's December 15th? Need some good energy, man. Some good vibes, some good juju. It's a little stale outside. It's cold as hell. And my team sucks, and so did somebody else. So I need the Christmas spirit. I need some movies. I need some lights, something. Maybe they need to start putting lights.
Why
on
should?
Woodward.
Yeah, we should probably do
Put
that.
some lights on
Bring
Woodward or
some.
something.
Yeah, let's bring some
Christmas
Christmas
cheer.
lights in here.
Some eggnog.
Yeah, that wouldn't be
Christmas
bad.
Brothers.
You know what? I had an eggnog cheesecake the other day.
Oh.
This friend of mine made an, and I don't like eggnog, but you could
I
barely
love
taste
eggnog, actually.
it. Was unbelievable. I
You
mean,
don't
it
like
was.
eggnog?
I don't, but it was incredible. This is my favorite time of the year.
Same.
And the reason, and I love Thanksgiving. I really do. I love Thanksgiving. I love all the traditions and so on and
Nice
so
spring.
forth. But I love this build up to Christmas. There's almost, for me, a letdown at Christmas.
Yeah.
Emotionally. I like the build up to Christmas, the anticipation of delivering gifts and seeing people smile. And I think people act differently, don't you, around Christmas time?
I agree with you.
Except for Kool-Aid. He's like that all the time.
That's because there's magic in there, man. You know what I'm saying? I still believe in it. It's still out there. You know, you got a little bit kid in you. But I think it's because back in the day, it was the lead up actually led to something that was like magical back then. You're giving out toys, gifts. Kids are younger. You go through that phase of them excited, chipping at the heels to get to Christmas morning. Like that was the payoff then. Now we still have the nostalgic memory. Oh, here it comes. Here's the movie season, the 25 days of Christmas. And once you get to Christmas Day, it's like, oh, wait, my kids are grown. I'm grown. Like, this is a different holiday than what it used to be. I think that might be a little bit of the letdown these days.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yesterday, I went to Art and Jake's in Clarkston.
Sorry,
KG. No, that's
fun?
all right. It was. I really enjoyed it.
Situation.
Okay, so Spenny and KG, as always, did a really nice job on the watch party and interacting with folks
Hey,
there,
shout out.
and had a really good time meeting the owners there. Young but energetic and really sharp individuals there. Everybody was in. I couldn't believe how crowded it was. Everybody in there obviously had their Lions gear on. So I sat with Maz for a while and a few others of our Woodward Sports family and watched some of the other games. And the beauty of it is the ability and willingness to debate certain football plays and football teams and football players. The frustrating part is regarding the Lions because there is a belief.
That part.
Well, I didn't watch the full game there, but you're almost a leper if you don't think your team's going to win. So my comment was, I don't see how they can keep up with L.A. scoring-wise.
Yeah.
I think Detroit can score. And you're the one who convinced me that they would be able to score on the Rams. I didn't know how they were going to stop L.A.
That's the problem.
And that obviously turned out to be the problem. Although I will say this, there was a little bit of me that goes, when Hutchinson picked off Stafford, I was like, wait a minute. That's how you beat this team.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You force those turnovers just like Carolina did 2 in one game.
Yeah, it felt really similar, man, to 2 years ago in San Francisco in the playoffs. But
Oh, that's a good one.
It did.
I didn't think about that.
Because that third quarter was putrid.
It was ugly.
That's exactly kind of what it felt like. The frustrating part about it for the Lions game is that, they were able to score points. It was just the fact that was a winnable game. Like, that's the frustrating part for me, is that yesterday was a winnable game. There was some mistakes made on the coaching staff. There was some mistakes made by players in crucial times that took away touchdowns, took away yards, got you out of position, took you out of situations to where you could extend the drives in which we talked about in the second half. So I think this was a winnable game. We didn't know how they were going to be able to maintain all game long. 13 drives is a lot to have to contend with the LA Rams. They can score in multiple ways. I think what happened eventually is at halftime, which a lot of people talk about, the halftime adjustments, they don't exist. Well, I beg to differ, because when that halftime came, Sean McVay saw that he had to do something in the middle of the field as it relates to Jamison Williams coming inside, as well as Amon-Ra St. Brown. They destroyed over the middle of the field. And then you saw in the second half, put a little bit of that coverage too on them, zone. They spied on, they played combo coverage on Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second half, and those plays weren't there as much in the second half. And when you're not scoring like they were in the first half, it tends to bother.
And the Lions played some zone.
Yeah, they did.
That opened up Nakua and others across the middle.
Because that goes back to what you said, 13 personnel. They really were able to run the ball. Sean McVay is a stubborn SOB as it relates to wanting to run the football, establishing the run, and using the run to open up Devontae Adams and Puka Nakua and Kobe Parkinson, which I'm sure we'll get into. But in two, I think, in just a broad stroke, looking at the Lions, looking at the Rams, the difference was when there was no Jamison Williams and there was no Amon-Ra St. Brown to throw to, the Lions were struggling. Mm-hmm. Like when they didn't have who accounted for 300 yards themselves between the two of them. If you look at the stat sheet, literally all the stats are Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
13 for St. Brown and
7 for 134 for J-Mo. When they shut that down, like you had two other people that had a reception. Cleef had a reception and Jahmyr Gibbs had 4 receptions for 20 yards. Right. Like when you look at the Rams, they had 9 guys get a reception. You had 7 guys with more than 3 receptions. Like there were ways to get the ball. The running game, you had 2 running backs with over 70 yards yet again, over 60 yards yet again. So there were multiple ways on offense where they could move the ball and hurt you. So
and the Lions only had 70 yards rushing total.
100%. Mm-hmm. So if it wasn't Nakua, if it wasn't Adams, if it wasn't Parkinson, if it wasn't Atwell, if it wasn't Corm, if it wasn't Kyron, there were more places to go with the ball for Matt Stafford. He keyed in on 2 people for Jared Goff, and once that was no longer there, the second half is a reflection of that.
It's a really good point. Only 4 guys. I mean, guys were targeted, right? Yeah. Montgomery and Tesla were targeted each once, but they didn't have a catch. So it was St. Brown with 13, Williams with 7, Khalif Raymond with 1, as you mentioned. Yeah. Gibbs had 4 catches, just 20 yards. I thought what L.A. basically did is they said, here's what we're going to have to do. We got to stop Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay?
100%, which is rightfully so.
Yeah, and he didn't hurt him at all. You know, I mean, there was almost barely a threat of him being that guy, you know, and that's why I always tried. His longest run was 6 yards. So that's why I always say when they were talking about, you and I were laughing about it, when people were saying he's as good as Barry Sanders, you and I were like, okay, pump the brakes. He does a really nice job in a lot of different things, but he may not even be the best running back in the league as much as we love him. On the other hand, every running back needs offensive linemen. And they were not winning at the point of attack.
They weren't winning at the point of attack, too, and it goes even beyond that. You saw a couple plays yesterday. Even Penei Sewell was out of position on a couple plays. He had a holding call. Could have got a couple more in the game yesterday. Cologne was out of place a bunch in that game. One, most notably, led to a Jahmyr Gibbs run that could have been a run where he gets 7 to 10 yards. You know, with his speed and his explosion, he got a loss of 4 on that play in particular. So offensive line play, which has been a consistent theme, it's been a consistent conversation, whether you want to talk about the 5 guys to start the season or you want to talk about the injuries, offensive line this season has just been a consistent conversation.
Yeah, I'm not going to claim – so there's a couple of things.
Right.
I'm not going to claim that injuries are the reason for it because San Francisco didn't fall back on that, and they've had key injuries too. Bosa was gone. Purdy was gone. McCaffrey was gone for a while.
I was talking
Fred
about
Warner's
the
gone.
offensive line.
Yeah, I know you were.
The injuries too.
Yeah, I'm saying what some people have said overall.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're doing this either, but it is. And speaking of injuries, Micah Parsons is done for the year. By the way, NFL Network just announced that.
Yeah.
So I don't root for the Packers, but I like watching really good players, and his injury is disappointing. That's a completely different topic that we can get into. His injury, Patrick Mahomes' injury, Malik Neighbors earlier this year, goes back to what you and I have said, and when I pound my fist on the desk all the time, stop with the NFL bullcrap that you care about the players because they really don't. That's an old bit. I don't want to do it today. But you said it's a winnable game. What does that mean? You thought it was a winnable game? Because granted, they were up 10.
Yeah, 10.
I don't know if I ever.
Then it went to 7.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever felt comfortable that they were going to stop LA. So for me, I didn't look at it as a winnable game, but maybe you'll change my mind. Explain it to me.
I didn't look at it as a winnable game before the game started. I was with you. I thought the Rams would win. At some point, you would see the Rams dominance. I guess it kind of happened like that anyway, and that's what I thought you would see. But when you're watching the game and the Lions go up, they were responsitory early. They missed the field goal. They come back, the Rams drive, they get the interception, they go down, boom, first play, touchdown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now the Rams come back and respond, Lions come back and respond as well. So early on, they get the lead, they're in responsitory mode, and they're playing good football. You're starting to see, okay, there's something there for the Lions.
Yeah.
There's a different energy to the Lions today. They're getting their hands up at the point of attack. They're actually making some plays on defense, if you will, and then offense. Short field a little bit, but Jared Goff got that thing rocking and rolling early on. He and Amon-Ra were able to find each other, and get into a rhythm. And then here's J-Mo. So it looked like early on they don't mind keeping up. They don't mind scoring, and they found that gap. They found that niche that we talked about on the show where there would be some plays, and they were excited. And second half happened, and it wasn't the same. The Los Angeles Rams come out with a 9-minute, 35-second drive, which they only got a field goal, but they wore the Lions' defense down. And I think that's where you really started to see the chinks in the armor break. But going into the halftime, I thought that this was a winnable game for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I understand that. I thought they played well in the first half. Yeah. Going 3 and out on your first 3 drives of the third quarter, not ideal.
Had to do it, and that some of that's on Dan Campbell, some of that's on the players. I think Dan Campbell got put in some situations where he made some questionable calls on first, second, and third down. It kind of looked very similar to the Green Bay game with Jahmyr Gibbs in those spaces where you need a touchdown, you need a score, you get close to scoring, you get in the red zone, and here we go, hand it off. The run had not been there. They stopped the interior run all game long. And we chose to go there.
So when you say get Gibbs involved, because he got himself in trouble, where you got to go to Gibbs,
right?
You're not suggesting specifically running the football or even specifically running between the tackles. You're talking about getting him involved in other ways. I'd like to know how you determine, or anybody, not just you, anybody determines when you keep pushing the envelope with a specific player and when you say, they've taken him away, I've got to move on.
Yeah, but this is where you got to have your other plans worked out. This is where you have to have that this is where you have to have the schematics like you did against the Eagles, and to where they were using him a lot in the past game, how they were moving him around in the Dallas game. I know this game was different, but when you get the lead, this is where you find out, hey, that's some of that stuff that we did last week that worked. This is literally 10 days ago where you had the success that you did against the Dallas Cowboys. The Eagles game, the success, he only had 20 yards rushing. He had 130 receiving.
Right.
Like, this is where you're supposed to implement some of those things. And I think by the time that they say, all right, this is working, we'll shelf this and come back to it, when they tried to come back to it, it was too late. It's too late because the Rams aren't a team that'll allow you to just pucks around and, here's a drive. Okay, see how things go. It didn't work. Punt. We'll stop them. And there's no stopping them.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
It's really hard to, yeah.
So when it's not working, you can't try to figure it out on the go. That's why you got to come out when you're up 10 points, when you're up 7 points, when you're getting into a little bit of a rhythm.
I had somebody on social media ask me this question. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on it. The question was, shouldn't you be using, in so many words, your offense to help your defense? In other words, keep the ball away from the Rams.
Yeah.
My response was, well, I understand why people feel that way, but Detroit coming into the game, since Dan Campbell took over as play caller, had the most explosive plays in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Detroit was the number one scoring team in the National Football League. It's skewed from earlier in the season, but still, those are facts. Why would you play to be somebody different just because the other team's so successful on offense instead of you being truly who you are?
Well, part of that is part of it being a good coach. A good coach can adapt to the situation. A really good coach can adapt to the situation and actually make it work in that situation. Keeping an offense that's explosive as the Rams off the field, that's kind of like, excuse me, that's a classroom one-on-one. If you're going in a game with a team that's that explosive on offense, well, what you want to do is you want to run the ball, you want to extend drives, you want to keep the clock, you want to keep it till you can. Keep them off the field, keep them from getting in rhythm. That will help you on offense. You don't have to make that your main thing, but you got to be able to run the ball.
That's what I was just going to say. Can
you
you
gotta
do
be
that
able
if you
to
can't run the ball?
You got to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
And the Lions haven't proven they can run the ball consistently this season. They've had some really good stints where they run the ball, and they've had some really stinky stints. And yesterday, it just wasn't good enough in terms of running the ball, especially when you're looking at the other side. Sean McVay, Blake Corum, and Kyron Williams, they ran the ball at every turn.
Yeah.
And he made sure that we're going to let you know, we're using the run to set up the pass. And now you got 13 personnel. You got tight ends that can catch like Parkinson. You got a two-way go. And then Puka plays a lot in 13 personnel. So you get two-way goals in those personnel. It makes it that much harder, especially when you're not getting anything out of your offense. What did you get? 220 yards. What is it? 16 of 20, 222 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first half for Jared Goff. And in the second half, he was 11 for 21. He was 110 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah.
No interceptions, but no touchdowns.
There was a point in the game where Fox had a graphic, and the graphic was in the quarter. The Rams, I believe, had 179 yards, and the Lions had 3.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're playing Cleveland. You're not beating that team if that's how it's going to look, right? So that's for sure frustrating, and I completely understand it. I don't blame anybody's frustration. Anytime you lose, everybody's ready to point fingers. And by the way, when you're running the football, and I've learned this from talking with you guys, pros, not just you, but all kinds of NFL players. When you run the ball, it's not every run is going to be 12 to 15 yards.
Some runs are 2,
yeah,
3.
And you stay with it to try and do that. When you get in trouble, correct me if I'm wrong here, is when you start getting behind the chains and you start trailing on the scoreboard by double digits. That's when it almost takes it away, depending on the timing of the game.
Yeah, early on in the game, the Lions were ahead. So it was a little easier, it was a little more confident. You go down, you miss the field goal, then you get the interception. You go down, you score. Then they respond. That's what the Rams did really good yesterday. They kept responding. Every time the Lions did something, the Rams would find a way to respond. Yeah. So the Lions score, guess what the Rams do? Here comes Kyron Williams. They score. The Lions score again, then they score again. And right before the half, because it's about to be, what at the half? It's about to be 21-14, 21.
Was it a 10-point lead?
It was 10 points.
It was. I mean, Detroit. Each team scored 7 in the first quarter. I think Detroit scored 17 in the second. So it was 24. I thought it was 24.
21.
24-14. I thought it was. Then they kick a field goal just before the half.
Field goal.
Yeah.
Right.
So 24-14.
24.
Then it made 20. Then it was 24-17 at the break.
Go. They responded. They got the field goal, and it took them 30 seconds to get in field goal range. Like those are moments. Like, hey, this is a moment because we know what happens at the end of the half. They get that ball back. Mm-hmm. This is a moment where we do not want to allow them the opportunity to go down and get a touchdown or score. And they go down right there. And Sean McVay, they kicked 2 field goals that were very pivotal in that game. We missed one, but they kicked 2 that were very pivotal. They kept responding. But getting back to the point with the Lions, they responded every single time, and it kind of it's tough.
Yeah, I mean
that's what the Lions used to do.
It's what they used to do, and what the players would tell you afterwards is that they're a resilient group, which I don't disagree with. For a week, you have to be resilient for the rest of the season now, because no longer do you hold the tiebreakers. No longer do you hold, your destiny in your own hands. You need help, and they can get it. I think there's a lot of people who believe they can get it. There's no doubt about that. But this one stings for a number of reasons. First of all, it's Stafford. Second of all, it's McVay.
Yeah.
Third, you don't see that the problems have been – look, you said this last week. Arizona moved the ball on the Rams. The Lions, you expected to move the ball on the Rams.
Carolina beat the Rams.
Right. The difference is, what are you going to do to stop them from moving the ball? And it remains a problem. The defense remains a serious problem. If you score 34 points, you should win a football game if you're a good football team.
Yeah. Problem is just they never felt under duress. They never felt off schedule. Even when the Rams were struggling early on, like that first drive that the Rams had the ball and didn't score, like they marched down the field easily.
Yeah, I know.
Went down the field easily, la-di-da, boom, boom, boom. Here's a catch for Devontae. Here's a catch for Puka. Here's a catch for – they marched down the field easy. They missed the extra point or missed the field goal. And then anyway, but every single drive, every single response, like they felt on point. They felt on par. They didn't feel like they were panicking. Yes, you get the interception by Aiden Hudson. Yes, you had 2 sacks. Aiden had a sack, and so did Lopez. Rory Lopez making some noise the last 2 weeks. Yeah. But you had 2 sacks, but Stafford didn't seem under duress. He didn't seem like he was struggling. He had 368, much like Jared Goff had 340 and some change. So they just, that part, like it never felt like the Lions had them at a point where a panic, a frenzy, a little bit of, oh, shoot, these boys came to play.
Yeah, somebody crazy clown said, I looked at the stats, and Goff actually did better than Stafford, had 3 TDs and 9 incompletions once again. I don't know where the finger gets pointed. This is what happens when a team loses.
Yeah.
Who's to blame? Because we want to look at one person when usually it's multiple people. So we'll do that when we come back. A quick time out here on the Braylon Edwards Show. A lot of football discussion to get to regarding the Lions and really around the NFL. The problems that we continue to see with high-profile names going down. We'll continue to talk about that and a lot of other things. It is crazy, isn't it? You're right about that, Kool-Aid. After this, from Ben Johnson and Art and Jakes.
Corporations, the government, even your insurance company do whatever it takes to minimize their liability and withhold your compensation. So, when something goes wrong, make Ben Johnson the first call you make and get the fighter. He is the fighter in your corner. Ben Johnson has been fighting for a very long time, and he has a team and a group around him to fight and get you the results that you need. Whether it's a settlement or verdict, have no fear, because Ben Johnson Law is here. Contact him at benfights.com.
I went yesterday to Art and Jakes in Clarkston. And I'm not kidding you, man. I had a really good time. I had, for an appetizer, the Bang Bang Shrimp. In the words of Kool-Aid, it was fire. I mean, it was fantastic. It really was. The atmosphere was really cool. The food was very good. Spenny took down the 3 Bang Bang Shrimp tacos in, I would say, it might have been about 48 seconds. That's how good it was. Now, he loves his food, but that was special to him. Yeah. And you could tell why. You could see the food right up there. They've got 80 wall-to-wall TVs. You could just turn your head ever so slightly and you'd pick up a different game. They've got over 22 draft beers, 90 menu items. And I was talking with some of the owners, and I said, how many items? Can there be too many menu items? He said, yes, there can be. Sometimes we change it. We'll look at it every 4 to 6 months, change it up a little bit, what's selling, what's not selling. I ask them about their beers. They make sure they've got the right beers in there. They've had people in their kitchen with them for 12 years. Some of them have been for 12 years. Some at other locations, 20. You don't see that at places. You know what that tells you? It tells you it's a well-run restaurant. Tells you that they love their job, and it tells you that they're good people. Check it out today. Art and Jake, 6 locations throughout the state of Michigan.
The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or Bust Lions network. Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new face.
New focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Baligian. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be than Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions. Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Like a frostbite straight from the divine. Cold rush on my skin feels so fine. Muscle freeze, he's a ache. No side effects, no mistake. Chill Sub-Zero, icy and true. Feel the chill. It's all for you. It's not magic, just science.
Is essential.
It is essential.
Planet Fitness understands that, man. With over
this
50
energy.
metropolitan Detroit location, it's the gym for you, and it's also no judgment. So when you come in here and you start your journey, or you continue your journey with Planet Fitness, there's no judgment here at Planet Fitness. The gyms are also squeaky clean, and there's trainers on staff. Also saw a post just recently, even John Cena, who you can't see from time to time, works out at Planet Fitness. Shout out to him in his last match this past weekend in the Elder Gunther. Planet Fitness is the spot. And remember, the gyms are always clean.
I was thinking about you at the gym today.
Oh, okay. In what capacity?
Well, I was doing some cardio.
Okay.
Sweating my ass off.
There you go.
Not going very far, like I probably should. I was trying to use Braylon as some incentive. Guess what? It didn't work. But do you know what does work? Yesterday, while I was at Art and Jake's, I was watching Spenny getting ready to do his whole show. You know what he was drinking? Sun Cruiser vodka iced tea. I don't know if he drank that faster than he ate the tacos, but it's pretty damn close. You know why? Because he knows it's real vodka, real iced tea, no bubbles, a clean, crisp sip that barely touched his mustache, and only 100 calories. That's important too. Let the good times cruise. The Sun Cruiser and Woodward Sports, please drink responsibly. I don't want to blame one person for a football loss. Right. I suppose you could blame a kicker if, they missed a bunch of extra points and field goals or whatever, and they should have and all this. But I don't want to blame one person because I love football so much, but I love the fact that it's a team sport. Yeah. Right. But there's blatant weaknesses on this team. And when Roy Lopez is the only defensive tackle being mentioned, that's a problem, okay? Yeah. Where is Aleem McNeil? Where was Tyleik Williams? Where was DJ Reader? Those are frustrations for me because I like the big guys in the middle. You know that, okay? With all due respect to Braylon, I enjoy watching the big guys move the pile more than I do wide receivers going down catching passes. It's the way I've always been. That bothered me. So that's number one. And number two, the same thing on the offensive side. I like the big guys pushing the pile. I didn't see nearly enough, but that's been an old hat. That's been an old argument that we've had about this Lions team all season long. So I've almost accepted it, and I probably shouldn't. But the defensive tackle position has to improve if they want to win the last 3 games.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we'll have a conversation. If you want to talk about the playoffs and is it still available for the Lions, sure. Yeah, that's not what this show is about today. But to answer your question, yes, there is still a path for the Lions to get to the playoffs. And because of injuries, Green Bay and all these other teams, there may even be something that you can do. But just speaking on what I see when I see them. It's the same thing we've seen all year. Inconsistent play at the offensive line and actually getting pushed back. Yesterday was another one of those examples where they didn't necessarily get at the point of attack. They didn't get any ground. They didn't move any ground. And on the opposite side, too, with the defensive line, they didn't make enough of a fuss, and you allowed these running backs to be able to get some momentum. And once the running backs get momentum for the Rams, insert the passing game, and you open that up. Yeah, you try to figure out where's the blame. I don't even like the term blame. I just noticed some glaring things.
Okay, good.
And
that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. One of the glaring things is this secondary has not been good as a whole, talking about the DB position. I'm not talking about your all-pro Kirby Joseph and your one of my favorites in Brian Branch, who actually hasn't necessarily been the best this year, but the DB position. The ones that check the wide receivers, it's been bad for a very long time here with the Detroit Lions. You draft Jeff Okudah, at least Quinn Tricia and them did. That didn't work out. And then Brad Holmes as well as Dan Campbell get rid of him. And then they do a hodgepodge of litany of bringing in this DB or that DB to just make it fit. And while we're trying to figure the team out, Emmanuel Mosley, you paid him a couple times over. Then you draft Terrion Arnold. The Terrion Arnold experience, I don't think I don't think it's worked. I don't know if he's the DB you were looking for. DJ Reed, I don't think he was the DB that you were looking for.
When you say that, what's the DB you're looking for? Can you explain that?
You need a DB1.
Right.
Like, you got to have a DB1. And I feel like the Lions are playing with a bunch of DBs that are DB2s, DB3s, DB4s, the Legion of whom. Like, you can't do this. Every time they play against a quarterback that can pass the ball, some receivers that can play, one of these games happened, whether it was the playoffs in 2023, whether it was the playoffs in 2024, whether it was last night. When you play against these high-powered offenses with these wide receivers and quarterbacks and get the ball down the field, the Lions tend to struggle because the defensive line also is not as good. So if you're not going to have a DB1, I mean, you had Carlton Davis last year, but I was told that he wasn't necessarily that good of a DB, and you can get a price reduction in getting DJ Reed. He's pretty decent over there in New England this year. But the DB position, if you're not going to get a DB1, somebody that can cover these wide receivers for a period of time, then you got to have some defensive ends or defensive tackles that can get to the ball or create some consistent rush. When you don't have either, you have moments where the quarterback can just sit there and figure out when and where he's going to throw the ball. And I think that's what you saw in the second half of yesterday. Defense got tired from being on that field, from the Lions going 3 and out. And when they're on that field, those glaring it becomes even more and more noticeable. But Talik Williams, I still go back to it was an interesting draft pick because for someone that says I don't draft for need, that's what you did in that moment because you felt Aleem McNeil was going to be further down the season. So now we get Talik Williams.
Well, you would say if they were to draft for need, they would have drafted a defensive end.
My point exactly.
Okay, so we've gone through this. I don't know who you would have taken ahead of him. I'm not saying he's the right pick. What you said at the beginning of this season has stuck with me for a long time, and that is I watch every Michigan football game. This is you, not me. Yeah. I watch every Michigan football game, and I never noticed him.
I didn't.
That's a problem. Okay, that's a serious issue. Yeah. So I think if that's a situation where you're not recognizing, you're not noticing him, then obviously it was a wrong player. Yeah. I don't know what we look at, what statistics. I know we always want this. I want this more than you do. You use your eyes and your judgment on it. I look at a lot of times, is it supported by numbers? Carlton Davis doesn't have a pick this year. Does that matter? Probably not if you're not getting targeted a lot. Has as many tackles this year as he had last year. Had 2 interceptions for the Lions last year. I think, DJ Reed at the beginning of the year I thought was really good. Since he's come back from injury, I think he's struggled. And I don't know if that necessarily makes him a DB1 or a DB2. I feel duped a little bit by Terrion Arnold. I thought he'd be a good player. I thought he'd be a cornerback 1. He's not. Have I seen enough of him to make that judgment? Probably not, quite honestly. Yeah. But I trust your eyes more than I would my own. Somebody in the chat, and we got a couple of super chats that I want to get to, but somebody in the chat had mentioned about Brad Holmes' last 2 drafts.
Not good.
And that's fair because 2 years ago it was Arnold, Rakestraw, Giovanni Manu, Sione Vaki, who's been really good on special teams. Okay. I know that's not what you're looking for. A 4th-round pick, or was he a 5th-round pick? I can't remember. I thought he was a 4th. But either way, I don't think you can judge this year. Tyreek Williams has not been the impact player you would have expected as a first-rounder. I think Tate Ratledge has been good at times, but he's been bad at times. I mean, that's what happens when you get young offensive linemen. Isaac Tesla has not been targeted. So is that a guy who you think has been a bust? Miles Frazier was injured, but when he came back, he actually played pretty well. Ahmad Hassanin, a 6th-round draft pick. Okay, I'm hoping for special teams. For a guy like that, Dan Jackson, Dominic Lovett, whatever. I don't think you can judge them just yet. But I think we're in the process of probably judging last year's draft class, and it hasn't been good.
I think we're in the process of judging a little bit more because if you look at the last 2 seasons, when things happen like this, you have to take a closer look. Whether it's take a closer look at Dan Campbell, because a lot of these games this year, it was brought to my attention when I was having a conversation in the back. He said a lot of these games are one-score games, regardless of how ugly they are, one-score games. Well, you know who one-score games fall on? Typically a coach. Typically falls on a head coach. You talk about one-score games. Every game this year for the Lions and lost with the exception of the Chiefs game, it's a one-score game. And it's a score where there was some opportunities. So do you look at Dan Campbell? Now that last year, 2 years ago, NFC Championship, 12 wins. We know how that ended. Last year, 15 wins. We know how the game ended against the Commanders here at Ford Field, 2nd round of the playoffs. Now we're in a situation where we're fighting to get to the playoffs. Now we may not even be in the playoffs this season. So technically that's a declination. Even though you won more games last year, you got out faster. So you've been on the decline now for 2 years. So now that's the head coach as well as the general manager, because I have to now start looking at moves in terms of a lot of those middle round picks, that 2nd to 4th round picks where you've tried some moves and they just haven't hit, et cetera, and then free agency and off season. All this starts to come into play where you look at where the Lions were to where the Lions are. Because this isn't the season where we're going to talk about injuries, this, that, and the third.
Yeah, I could be way off base here. I don't want to pop people's balloons. That's not fair. The one-score games don't mean much to me.
Right.
Sorry. You see it in the league. Half the games are one-score games. I'll give you an example this past weekend. Atlanta-Tampa was a one-score game. San Diego-Kansas City, one-score game. Buffalo-New England was a one-score game. Washington-Giants was a one-score game. Denver-Green Bay is a one-score game. New Orleans-Carolina is a one-score game. Seattle-Indy with a 44-year-old quarterback was a one-score game. Yeah. And Minnesota-Dallas was a one-score game. That's 8 right there.
And all 6 of those games, with the exception of one, was won by the best head coach. Every single one of those games, the best head coach, with the exception of the New Orleans Saints. That's the only one where I'm like, all right, cool, you got me there. You can flip. I don't even know. You flip a coin.
Yeah, you're right.
But the other 7, the best coach won.
I might debate you on that with Buffalo and New England. I think Mike Vrabel's a really good coach. Is Sean McDermott better than he is? It's a great debate. Okay.
Realistically, they both have gone as far as the same point. So if you want to call them equal, fine. The guy with the better quarterback won that game.
Right on.
And I give you that.
Yeah.
But still, those are equal head coaches in the matter. They both have been to the AFC Championship is the furthest.
Yeah.
Vrabel with the Tennessee Titans, and then obviously
my point is you've got 8 games. And by the way, we're not done. Tonight could be a one-score game. It's Miami at Pittsburgh. That could be a one-score game. I don't know. It might be. But we're talking about if that's what we're going to hang our hat on for a team that has won back-to-back division titles, reached the NFC Championship game, and 2 years ago set a franchise record for number of wins last year and number of points and all these other things, then I think we've lowered the bar. And I'm not willing to do that.
There weren't any one-score games, though. There was a lot of blowouts.
Yeah, there were a few blowouts. Yeah,
a lot of blowouts.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. Kool-Aid, you got some super chats, my man. Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, sir. And shout out to the people for supporting the show this morning.
Yeah, thank you for that, everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And Randall's, well, actually, you know what? Greg Thomas, $4.99 super chat. He has the #1 crown. He just says, "Merry Christmas, stay positive." Shout out to Greg. One of the main.
I love that. I love to stay positive, and that's, I'll be honest with you. I mean, that's more can of Kool-Aid. I mean, you guys smiling and you guys are believing. I don't like being. I wouldn't even call us negative, Braylon. I think we're more realistic. I don't like necessarily being like that, but I can't help it because they've given me nothing this year since October 5th that tells me they're going to reel off 3 in a row.
You know what? I appreciate that. I wanted to come today. I didn't want to be the negative guy. I didn't want to be this, that, and the third. That's why I said, hey, look, there's still an opportunity where you guys can make the playoffs. The only problem is the fact that your conference has the highest records, and they're not even the division leaders right now. Like Seattle, second place, 11 wins.
San Francisco, 10 wins.
10 wins.
Third place.
And then the Green Bay Packers, even if they fall apart, they beat you twice, and they have a tie, which means they have 2 less losses and 2 more wins. So it sucks in those spaces. So that's the part that it's just annoying. But
I don't mean to drag you down. I'm just saying.
It's okay. It's okay. Here we go. You're watching Lions all season. We've come up here and we feel like we've been a bit of real. Like if you look at this conversation that we've had now for 4 months, 3.5 months, the Lions have not put themselves in a situation to change the conversations that we had over the weeks. Like when I came up here after the Vikings lost, after I came up here after the Chiefs lost, after we came up here 2 weeks ago after the after the Thanksgiving loss, and now after the Rams lost. Yeah, it was almost a winnable game, and yeah, they played good in the first half, but yet they've done a lot of things that still fall into what they've been doing all season long, which the Lions are a good team. I think this is what you guys need to hear. The Lions are a good NFL team.
They are.
Problem is they're not good enough right now.
Yes.
Hey, that's the problem.
I can agree with that.
They're a good team. Yeah. Jared Goff balled his ass off yesterday. Yeah. Amon-Ra St. Brown 2 games in a row. He's let you know why he is who he is. Jamison Williams is getting better and better and better. Aiden Hutchinson showed up for you in a moment you really needed him, because that went from a missed field goal to it could have been a touchdown, and now it's like that. The energy is gone. But instead you get the interception, you get within the red zone, and then you got to score a touchdown. I think you got to the 17. So there's some really good things about him. But there's just too much bad to overcome this season for me to believe that even if they do find that 32% or the 31% or whatever it is to get in, that they're going to do something with it, regardless of how I don't trust Sam Darnold or Micah Parsons is out, or the 49ers, they still are kind of decent. Just
or Caleb
okay
Williams is going to implode or something like that. Depending on what you look at, Next Gen Stats has their playoff possibility at 50%. New York Times Simulator has them at 41%. And if they win out, there's at 94%. And I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying they haven't given me a reason to think that. And you're right. I think there's a difference between a feel of last year and this year, or even 2 years ago, where even if they go on the road, you're like, that team's dangerous. They're scary, right?
Yeah.
That, unfair to say invincibility, but that assurance is no longer there because they have struggled on the road and they have struggled containing certain types of teams or being able to protect themselves against certain types of teams. He's brought it up. The defensive lines for these teams scare the hell out of you. So I think you could beat Pittsburgh. Minnesota scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Lions fans and everybody's just waiting for the Lions to turn back into the team from last year that went 15-2. Or turn back into the team from 2 years ago that went 12-5 and got to the NFC Championship. But what about you makes you think that this team can do that?
Yeah.
And then what about you makes you think that this team can get there, and not only get there, but have the type of success that gets you to the Super Bowl? This isn't me talking stuff. This is me asking a real question.
Yeah.
Because if the team that couldn't do it 2 years ago in the NFC Championship, then the team last year who was a better team than this year with a better coordinator, if you do remember, although you said he was busy, maybe, that team couldn't get it done last year because of injuries. Now this team is trying to get to the playoffs. They're not even in the playoffs, and you're telling me that this team can do it. I just want to know what about this team makes you think that they can do it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. And by the way, I think they'll beat Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh comes calling with a guy who was 18-8 all time against Detroit with 54 touchdowns and 12 picks in his career, even though it was with a different team. Go ahead, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, as it relates to belief in the team, I can understand this season at this point saying that they haven't shown it. But the previous 2 seasons, at least in the regular season, they have overcome a lot of adversity. They have won games that people didn't think that they would win. Whether
like
people were there
this
or not.
Year?
No, the last 2 years. So coming into the season.
But this isn't then.
No, but coming into the season, you can't – I'm not going to doubt those guys.
Yes.
That would be the dumbest thing for me to do is to see them effectively, everything they touch turn to gold. You come into the season, you're going to support that.
Yeah, you're right. But look, I mean, you're talking to a guy who thought they would play Buffalo in the Super Bowl, and Braylon thought they'd at least get to the NFC Championship game. He just didn't think they would get to the Super Bowl. I thought they would, and I thought they had the talent to do that. But you've got to admit, if they're supposed to adjust during a game, you and I can adjust during the season.
And that's what I'm saying. This season, though, to this point, yes, it's definitely waned in terms of that. Just I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for what they've previously accomplished. Yeah. Now at this point in the season is one where you're looking at they're not able to have that same magic that they used to have, where before they seemed like nothing could affect them. Mm-hmm. Well, now whatever that bug that's bitten them in the playoffs, it seems like it's now biting them in the regular season.
Part of that magic is third down for the offense.
Amen.
We've talked about it a lot. Last year, 46%. The year before that, 42%. Like, that's where the line, even the year before that in 2022, when they started to get good, they were up to 41%. That's where the Lions were really good at. Yesterday, 30 first downs for the Rams.
Yeah.
21 first down for the Lions. A lot of first downs, but it's not enough. It's 9 more opportunities for the Los Angeles Rams. And then the Lions yesterday, what were they? 5 of 14.
Yeah.
They were 2 for 2 on fourth down, but 5 for 14 on third down. Those third downs are pivotal. We have talked about them all year. Also, we've talked about third quarter. I've come on this show because I've always paid attention. A lot of donuts in the third quarter.
Including yesterday.
Which also comes down to coaching. Mm-hmm. Like when you have a consistent donut in the third quarter, there's something that's not taking place for the Detroit Lions at halftime that is taking place for the good teams that they're playing. I don't care about the bum teams. I don't care about the Giants or the Cowboys or the Cleveland Browns or the Bengals. The good teams, there's something happening at halftime where you guys aren't able to come out and make the adjustments that they do. Don't tell me that halftime adjustments aren't a real thing. I disagree.
No, it's a reversal.
I absolutely disagree.
I think it's a real thing, too, but I think you're making adjustments throughout the game. But I think the halftime
very
for sure.
true.
Yeah.
It's a reversal from last year because they would come out of the halftime, and Jared Goff was on several different interviews saying, "Oh no, we figured out what they were doing." Mm-hmm. They were like, "Oh, what slowed you guys down in halftime? What caused this explosion in the third quarter?" Yeah. "Oh, we figured out what they were doing to us." And so it's like I'm not hearing them say that as much this season.
Yeah.
Instead,
because they can't
say more like, "Oh man, we got to figure this out." Oh, it's all correctable. Mm-hmm. Those are more or less the things that we're hearing this year, whereas in the past, they were solving these things.
It's going to be an interesting offseason. I know we're not at the offseason yet, and I'm not trying to get there. I'm not trying to rush it.
Did you just say mock draft season?
But you can't help it. You can't help it.
No. I'm not trying to do the mock draft. Somebody said the mock draft in the group chat, and I was like, too soon.
It's way too soon. But you can. It is worth at least thinking about it because of the pressure that this team is under for the next 3 weeks.
Not even 100%. Not even just in terms of what they'll do, who they'll get. How will they draft? It's not even about that. It's just, what will the energy be? Because for the last 3 years, and partially rightfully so, Brad Holmes has trolled us. Brad Holmes has told us we're okay. Brad Holmes has said we got this thing cooking with grease. And Dan Campbell has said the very same, like for 3 years. And so when you have these moments, it's like, you know what? I can't really ask too many questions. I can't really say too much because there is a level of success. They have done something that the former Lion regimes, none of them put together, had done. So you had to give a lot of that respect. But at the end of this season, I feel like some of those questions that people ask, some of those inquiries, you know what? Now there might be a little bit different. You better be a little bit humble too.
Yeah, I would say this. I think there's going to come a point in time, and I hope it's soon, that no longer are we comparing this Lions team to past Lions teams.
I like that.
Instead of comparing them to past great teams or very good teams. And I don't mean Lions. Instead of comparing them to the Lions of 1998, let's compare them to the Denver Broncos this year. Let's compare them to the Green Bay Packers this year. Let's compare them to the LA Rams this year. That's what we should be talking about. I love the fact that for the first time in my lifetime, I get a chance to watch a team that is considered a very good football team. And over the last 3 years, one of the better teams in the NFC. But I think there comes a point in time where we stop talking about comparing the Lions to past Lions teams when they were coached by Rod Marinelli and talk to people about this team being compared to the teams that are considered really good now.
Yeah.
So where did the Lions this year differ from the Denver Broncos of this year or the Green Bay Packers of this year, who they lost to twice? Like, where's that comparison? Because they don't compare to them.
Right. They don't compare to them on defense. That's for sure.
I was about to say defense.
Yeah. Defense first and foremost. I mean, Bo Nix has been sacked quite a bit. Jared Goff, is on pace to be sacked the most in his career. Denver's offense, I had in question. Yesterday, it was damn good. Okay? I mean, that team's 15-2. You don't win 11 in a row just by winning on defense. They've done some things. Bo Nix put up great numbers, 303, but he had 4 TDs. He gives you a little bit of something. I'm not saying they're going to win the AFC. I'm just talking about in general. And then some people might say, and somebody said this to me yesterday, okay, Buffalo. And I'm like, good one. Because they don't have the elite receivers Braylon's talked about. Josh Allen, a lot of times, is scrambling for his life. And their defense gets run up on.
Yeah.
Cincinnati did that a couple of weeks ago.
True. They got the number 1 rusher in the NFL, and they also have the best quarterback currently in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what helps them out of those situations.
Right.
100%. Because
they overcome
I don't
their
like Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I've always been honest. Josh Allen is a player.
Yeah.
And when you have the number 1 rush attack in the NFL, it helps Josh be able to sustain drives because they don't have to go away from the run.
Yeah, he was unbelievable yesterday.
He was.
Another super chat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And again, if you haven't got an opportunity to, go ahead and smash that like button. Randall Smalls, a shout out to our guy Randall Smalls, $5 super chat. Number 2 crown right now says, I saw the St. Brown and JMO doing a crossing route, complete to JMO, and the replay showed both were open. Why not run till they stop it? So he's wondering, why did they stop effectively running the plays that were working?
I don't know. And that's why I said it comes down to coaching. I'm not a head coach in this NFL. You know, and I never claimed to be, nor do I ever want to be.
Seemed like they outsmarted themselves.
Could it be the different defense that they see?
It showed Jared Goff some different looks.
Yeah.
And they showed him some different looks, made him think some things. I know they dropped some people in coverage. I tell you that story all the time about how Ray Lewis acted like it was a blitz, and then he didn't. He pulled out and he knocked me out. I thought it was going to be a blitz. Showed the offense things like that because the quarterback still threw it like it was going to be man-to-man. So he fooled him comparatively. I think that's some of the things that you saw yesterday.
Yeah, I think that happens at the lower levels a lot. I could be wrong here, so correct me. But lower levels, it's like, we're going to keep running this until they stop them, okay? USC, student body right, Charles White. Student body right, Marcus Allen. Student body right, O.J. Simpson. Well, guess what? In the NFL, they're showing you so many different looks. I don't think it's necessarily, just keep running dig routes to Sam Laporta. Keep running crossing routes to Jamison Williams when they're throwing different defenses at you.
Yeah.
And that was the player that I was talking about.
Yeah.
When we were talking off air, I said the player that again showed up that you can notice that he was not there.
Laporta.
Is Sam Laporta. Like, tight ends are very, very valuable. To a certain extent, almost as valuable as wide receivers.
Yeah.
In this day and age, in this current age. I mean, you got 6 of them that are in the top 20 in terms of yards and catches in the whole 9 yards. Not having Sam Laporta out there, I know it's been an old injury. This isn't anything new. Yesterday, you could have used.
I mean, going back to our conversation on that, when he first was out, that first game, we talked about it. We had a whole segment on what's the first quarter offense going to look like without Sam Laporta, because Jared Goff had gotten so comfortable with him over a span of weeks. And I remember, Bray, you talked about we got other tight ends that can do things, but they're not necessarily the pass catcher and the playmaker, which is different than that Sam Laporta is. And they are missing. He was catching touchdowns. He was the outlet safety valve. And now it seems like if there's anything over the middle, it has nothing to do with a tight end anymore. And I wonder how much that's changing the types of defenses they're able to throw at us when you can't necessarily spread them out with a bunch of people that they think, you know what, hey, we got to respect everybody across that the receiving core. And then, oops, there's Sam Laporta. If you forget about him, Jared Goff started luncheon. So I feel like over these next 3 weeks,
they've got people we've never heard of at tight end. Anthony Frisker.
Yeah, there's a couple of those guys yesterday.
Giovanni Ricci.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard of Giovanni Manu, but I've never heard of Giovanni Ricci, and he got a penalty, by the way, on a key Gibbs run.
Yeah. So, key penalty.
When I literally saw that. I'm like, wait a minute. The last Ricci I can recall was Mike Ricci playing hockey. Never heard of this dude.
I thought they had depth at tight end, and now they're at this point. Like when Sam Laporta first went down, I thought, okay, we have a little depth here.
Brock Ray got hurt right after that.
Right?
Yeah. That's what
well,
I'm saying.
Zylstra has actually hurt
that
before.
changed.
Brock Wright got
We-
hurt right away.
There are tight ends and there are players. There are tight ends that you just put in to run plays, and there are tight ends that you design plays for.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta is a
Right.
design play guy.
Yeah,
like you'll
well
design
said.
plays for Sam Laporta because he's that good.
Yeah.
He's a really good tight end, good pass receiving, has deceptive
talk
speed,
about
if
it.
you will. Sizable, creates a lot of mismatches for linebackers and undersized safety. So, like, he is a damn good tight end. You create plays for him, and they haven't had that. And yesterday is one of those days it showed because they legitimately were rocket fire with J-Mo, Waymo, and St. Brown.
Yeah.
But then once they made their halftime adjustment, once they realized they're going two spots, like Jared Goff was looking in two places the whole game because he figured out zero. He figured out zero wasn't it in the second quarter.
Right.
He's like, well, 14-9.
And as much as you're to your point, Shane Zylstra did
a
start.
great point.
You're playing Ricci, and you're getting guys. They're not the same pass catching tight ends as Sam Laporta, nor do they block as well. And it goes deeper than that. All right, a couple more super chats.
T.A. Grip says Goff doesn't.
Where does depth? Depth comes from the draft.
Anybody know where Shane Zylstra went to school? Anybody? Not that it matters.
Wayne State,
Minnesota State. Okay.
I had state part.
You had the state part right. Yeah. Craig T. Nelson coaching them. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Go ahead.
There you go, Coach.
T.A. Grip just really quickly says Goff doesn't even look at the tight ends anymore. But you know, and that's been real. Like now that I'm thinking about it,
because there's no trust. Like Jared Goff doesn't trust anybody on that that offensive skill set group. He doesn't trust anybody except those three, and they took Jahmyr Gibbs away. So now he has two guys he trusts. He trusts J-Mo, and that has been built over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and obviously St. Brown, which they built that for 4 years. He doesn't trust anybody. And when you don't trust anybody and you can't run the ball, when you're not helping his trust out, that's what you get. The second half of that game yesterday is what you get when you have trust in two players and you can't run the ball.
You've got guys on this team where you could play the game. We used to play this at the old radio station I used to work at. I'm going to give you a name, and you tell me, are they an NFL player or are they a restaurant owner? Ready? Giovanni Ricci.
I was going to say
Here we
Ricci
go.
again.
That's what it would be.
You know
Am I wrong there?
Sounds like a great Italian spot.
Yeah, it does sound like really good Italian.
We got to Photoshop a picture of Shep and Ricci together.
To make that make sense in terms of just the trust, like the best catch of the game yesterday. Is obviously with Puka on the sideline. We could talk about that.
Tutu Atwell had a good one too.
That was the best catch of the game.
Oh, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. I thought you were going Lions. I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
Okay.
I don't care. You stole it.
I
Tutu
apologize.
Atwell was the best catch. Like Jared Goff was like, I know I have all these other weapons, but I'm gonna throw this pass low as hell
Matthew
on the
Stafford?
sideline.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Low as hell on the sideline before the sticks. I'm gonna throw this to Tutu. You know what? Tutu will probably get it. Yeah, he'll pick it up. He'll pick it. Hey, Tutu, what you got for me? And then he makes an unbelievable catch.
He cut it off his
fingertip
toenail
and
for
got
crying out
both
loud.
feet in.
Yes.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like that's even Khalif Raymond comes in and Goff's like,
I'm not so sure about
I
that.
throw it to you once, but I don't know about this.
Somebody
time.
in our group chat said, "Why wouldn't you challenge that?" I'm like, "You don't
It was a
challenge
catch.
it because it was a catch.
And
it was clearly a
it
catch,
wasn't
and you don't want to
close
lose a
either.
timeout."
Which we did earlier.
Which you did earlier.
Which goes back to some of the things, the situational football
Right.
things with Dan Campbell that came up early on in his career, and you had hoped that he had taken strides from 22 to 23 to 24 to 25, which we're in. It seems like he has, but little plays like that, little
Okay,
things
I'm not making an excuse.
Go ahead.
I want your
Go
thoughts
ahead.
on this.
Go ahead.
It's hard to play call and be a head coach at the same time.
Yeah.
Especially if you haven't done it all year. Sean McVay's used to it. Kyle Shanahan's used to it. Mike McDaniel's used to it. Sorry, bad example. But
No.
you understand,
great-
right? Those guys are used to it. Dan Campbell's not. Is that part of it, do you think?
That's why the hire of Johnny Morton is so egregious when in this standpoint. You just went with him because, we'll go in. That in-house stuff. In-house will get you in trouble.
Because he was in-house before
in
he went to
2022.
Denver and came back.
Right, he was in-house in 2022. Some form of familiarity would bring
Passing
you back.
coordinator.
Some of the things works. That's important.
Yeah, he laid the groundwork, is what
Sometimes
they
it's
said.
not that important. Sometimes it's not, because now Dan Campbell is still trying to figure out how to be the offensive coordinator and then be the head coach, making sure when the defense is starting to fall apart in the second half, what conversations to have with Kelvin Shepard, how to motivate guys, how to do it. When the run game isn't working, being over to get with the offensive line, yo, Hank, what's going on? Like, you got to do all that. Oh, by the way, be a head coach. Oh, by the way, challenge plays. Oh, shoot, did he get it? Did he not get it? When you're not ready for that and you're trying to learn on the fly, that's tough.
Can I just
That's
add
tough.
this? I agree 100% with you. But can I just add this?
So
if that's the case, and I believe it to be the case, what the hell's he still doing up in the booth? Why is John Morton and the guy? Why is John Morton?
You trying to send him to the place that CP3's
Why is
at?
he in the booth upstairs? shouldn't he be? No, seriously. Shouldn't he be on the field, on the sideline, to where he can at least be the go-between between? What's he looking at? What difference does this make?
Yeah.
I really need to know this. He should be on the sideline, where most OCs are, by the way, in the first place. But even though he's not calling the plays, he should be down just so he can talk to his players, if nothing else.
You moved him.
Campbell can't do that. He can't talk to his guys.
Hey, that's
because
true.
he's too busy doing the other things as a head coach. I don't understand it. I don't understand why he's up in the booth. It makes no sense to me. Fix it.
Because at the end of the day, it's
I don't care if you're comfortable up there.
What is he going to be down on the sideline doing?
Well, you can talk to your players and get a
But
go-between.
if nobody ever bought into what John Morton is, if there's more to the scene, like maybe they just didn't fire him because they didn't want to embarrass him, but they know that he's not the guy for the job.
Okay.
So him down there on the sideline,
Could be.
In Jared Goff's ear. Excuse me, get out of my ear. You know what you're talking about.
Could be. Yeah.
Like, hey, I got it. No,
I kind of feel
Captain
it, though.
Obvious.
I kind of feel Shep, though, man, because it's almost
Get
like
him
this
down there,
lame
at least help
situation,
something.
man, and he's just up
All
there.
hands on deck.
Yeah, and I get it. It's like if he's in the arena, I get exactly what Shep is saying, especially with the season hanging in the balance. Like, it hit me different when he's like, yo, he can at least be down there talking to the players. Then you go back to J-Mo talking about how he had certain successes in the playoffs, and it was because of people like Teddy Bridgewater in his ear. Like,
But John Morton said
stuff
that during
matters.
training camp, remember? Or no, earlier this season. I failed him. The communication, all these other things. I mean, at least give me a Seinfeld Elaine moment. I faked it. Okay, fake it. Just fake it for us.
Yeah.
I don't think it's doing him any good being up there. It just doesn't make any sense. Any more super chats before we hit a break?
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of super chats. Lisa, read this next one, man. From, let me see here. Ronald Frazier. He's kind of upset right now. 499 super chat.
Should be.
He says, stop drafting injured players when we are the most injured team for the last 2 years.
I agree in 22, 23, 24 when they were still on that. I don't know where it is now. I definitely agree with that. But just getting back to the draft is going that whole process with Brad Holmes is going to be a lot different after the season. It's going to be a lot
I would think so.
It has to be.
The injured, I think there's a little bit of a misnomer here. Penny Sewell was injured at Oregon. I mean, he took the last year, it was a COVID year, so that's not where he was injured. He was injured before that. He had a bad ankle and missed a lot of games while at Oregon. But I'm glad they drafted him. I think
there's certain injuries. I get what he's saying. There's certain injuries. Like, Shep, you found a gray area because you're very good at this. But messing with an ankle and things like that is different than when you get talking ACLs and MCLs and PCLs and Achilles.
Yeah.
Like, Brad has drafted, more than 4 players that have had major injuries.
How many times were you injured at Michigan?
None.
Like, that's unique.
It's 100%, and I thank God every day for that.
Yeah.
Like, when I went to the combine, one of the longest days is the hospital and X-ray day.
Yeah.
That's the day they send everybody to the hospital, and you got to get all the X-rays. Anything that's come across the injury report in your service in college, they want X-rays on because they're about to spend money on you. They want to see what it is. I legitimately had no X-rays when I was at Michigan, and yet, I had one. I just had a labrum sprain that I kind of was like, no, that never happened.
You always play through it. And yet, what year did you injure your knee?
Rookie year. I tore my ACL my rookie year.
So, I say this about, I know, it's you're probably right. It's probably a gray area. It's on me. Somebody said this to me earlier this year. Like Miles Frazier, my brother-in-law said this. I said, hold on. Miles Frazier wasn't injured at LSU. He made 50 starts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's unique for an offensive lineman to make that many starts. He got injured. He drafted a player who got injured. If you're drafting players who already are injured, or have had injuries. I think it depends on the injury, so I'm going to agree with you in that regard.
I mean, because to be honest, one of the best performances we had yesterday was an injured player. J-Mo.
Yeah, that's right. Excellent point. 7 rocks, a touchdown, well over 100 yards. He's going to be, over 1,000 yards again this year. Had 1,000 yards last year. I think it depends on the injury, but I understand the frustration. And but I do believe we fall into traps in sports, and that is, okay, he drafts injured players, then boom, there's the label. Careful.
True.
Okay. Was help me with
That's
this.
fair.
I could be wrong. Was Enos Rakestraw injured at Missouri?
I don't know what he did in Missouri.
Yeah, neither do I.
I love that.
That can be a bad pick.
What he did.
Even if he wasn't injured, it can still be a bad pick. But he's been an injured player, right? So I'll have to check on that. So my apologies. I don't know that right off the rip.
Yeah, too. And I think too, with the injury situation, like there's a difference of drafting an injured player versus taking a risk on an injured player.
Yes.
I think when you're talking that 2nd to 4th round pick, or even 1st round pick, and you're talking about a guy that may not have been that good, but that got injured, and you're hoping is something more than what he is. Like Jameson Williams, like in that national championship game in 2022, Georgia versus Alabama, Georgia ends up winning. Alabama was winning that game, and it was because Jameson Williams was the best player on that field. So when you're moving up 20 picks to take him, or let's say when you're drafting him, now moving up 20, maybe where you can get into it, but drafting him, I don't see a problem with drafting him at all because you saw where that talent level was. It was like, nah, it's something special here. I don't mind taking that chance. But when you're talking about drafting a Pascal in 2nd round in Kentucky out of injury, like, this is a very pivotal pick. I don't know if I want to make it on you. Or you're talking Hendon Hooker, another 3rd round pick with a guy who tore his ACL. It's like, I don't know about that one. Those picks we don't need anymore.
And Enos Rakestraw, I got it for you, 2021 torn ACL. 2023 core muscle injury, sports hernia.
Yeah, but remember,
just before
2022,
the
he
draft.
came back and he started 13 games.
Yep.
So that always begs the question.
He did have the core injury right before that draft. He got better kind of right before it.
Okay, so 10 starts as a freshman. Sophomore, he gets injured. The next year, he plays 13 games, and the following year, he played 9 of the 12.
Resilient.
Okay? Now, I don't know how you tab that. So would you never draft a player who was injured his sophomore year but ended up playing the majority of games the next 2 years? Those are the good debates. Now, should he have been drafted? It sure as hell doesn't look like it because he doesn't look like a very good player. Okay? But the injury thing, you drafted an injured player. You and I have said this before. Adrian Peterson. How many people would have drafted him based on injury? That's all I'm saying. You would have. I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah,
and I would have been dead wrong.
I saw him go for 1,900 as a freshman.
But then he injured his knee.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with J-Mo. I saw what J-Mo did in the national championship game, and I was like, he's a damn good player.
Yeah.
Like Adrian Pierre, I'm like, damn good player.
Yeah, my point is the thought. Don't draft injured players. Okay, then take certain guys out then. Drew Brees, you're out.
But this is the thing.
Adrian Peterson, you're out.
Yeah, but and that's why I say it's a gray area because it's guys that I know have it.
But you're different, so you can't say that as a fan. Okay, the fans are saying a blanket statement.
Right.
Don't draft injured players.
Okay. And I'm
Just like
changing
you a
the
chief
blanket
ball
statement.
knower, Braylon.
I'm changing it
okay,
to
fine.
don't draft
changing the
injured
blanket
players
statement.
that aren't that.
That's funny. Okay, another super chat. Want to make sure we get them.
Definitely, man. The people, man, they keep sending them in, and I love this. Natalie, I like this one from Natalie in the chat.
Hey, thanks,
$4.99 super chat. Number 3 crown. Feels like Tim Patrick would have helped if we still had him. It was all St. Brown and JMO yesterday, and I love this last part. Why get rid of TP if you're not targeting Tesla at all?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shout out Natalie.
That was
well crafted.
That was well said. That's well said. Because it just gets back to the conversation that we said. This is actually a very good comment. The conversation that I made today was trust. Jared Goff trusts in his players. He only threw it to 2 people yesterday. He's the only 2 people he trusts in this situation. He didn't want to throw it to anybody else. He trusted Tim Patrick. And Tim Patrick got a lot of rocks on 3rd down, 3rd and long, especially also 2 in the red zone. That's where you trusted him the most. So trust is a big thing. And you spent some draft capital and went and got a guy that
Goff tells us he trusts him, but he does.
Even Dan Campbell doesn't sound like whenever he talks about Tesla, the conversation, he's like, we're gonna get him there. He's made some plays, but we're still coming along, and that means it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem. For
So
what it's
far,
worth,
at least.
and it's not the same offense, and it's not the same quarterback. Tim Patrick only has 13 catches this year. That's it. Okay, he's not made a massive difference for Carolina.
But
again, I know. I'm saying it's not the same offense. It's not the same quarterback. 33 catches last year. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that, right? But I don't mind. I just wish they would target Tesla more, and I'd love to know the deep down rooted answer why they don't. Somebody had sent in a super chat and said, this is off topic, but how about Tom Brady for Michigan coach?
Yeah, Big Back for life sent that in.
Yeah, thank you for that. Tom Brady signed a 10-year, $375 million contract with Fox. Would you rather once a week talk to some players in your realm and go sit in a booth, eat some crappy media food, but have some fun with your TV partners with very little pressure, knowing that you get 10 years, $375 million, or go to a college at Michigan, make $14 million a year, and have all that kind of nonsense every single day where you're trying to recruit people out of the portal into the NIL and trying to make friends with high school coaches.
By the way, you're part owner of the Las Vegas Raiders.
So you can't. Right.
There you go.
So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest. I am super late, and I apologize. But
hey,
when you get into these good conversations, this is what happens. It is 10 after the top of the hour. We'll be back on the Braylon Edwards Show with more right after this from our friends at Smoothie King and Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Oh, yeah, Smoothie King, where they have the best smoothies, at least to me, and that's all that matters. Michigan winter can slow you down, but your goals don't hibernate. I'm Braylon Edwards, and I want to tell you a little bit about Smoothie King and what it means to me. How about you hit Smoothie King on the cold days? And that's where I keep my steady energy to get this thing rocking and rolling. They now focus in on the real ingredients. That's real fruit, real protein. When you drink these drinks like mine, the Veggie Immune, it is the best one. You see the green up there. When you drink those, it refuels you. It puts the positive things back into your body to keep the energy going and keep you going throughout your week. Also, the Smoothie King High School Athlete of the Week has been doing an amazing job. We love the impact in the community that we're making. We love all the nominees that we have had up here. They have been great. But you know what? It's a new week. It's another time. You can scan the QR code above my head and nominate your Smoothie King Athlete of the Week. Make sure they have what it takes. The leader in the community as well as on the field. And they're also doing everything by the book. Smoothie King, High School Athlete of the Week, Smoothie King.
Speaking of leaders, Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning is proud to be a leader in the community in so many different ways, but especially with you and your friends and your neighbors. They keep your house warm in the wintertime. They keep it cool in the summertime. By going to SharonsHeating.com, you can see what we're talking about. They got free instant estimates for equipment replacement. They've got online filter purchasing directly from the website. And right now, through the end of this month, DTE gas customers get a free furnace tune-up. All you got to do is go to their website, SharonsHeating.com, or call them today, 734-238-3805, and tell them the Braylon Edwards Show sent you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards Edwards and Shep, Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Looking for your daily sports fix? Look no further. Join Braylon Edwards, the University of Michigan legend.
Lofting it right corner of the end zone for Braylon, up in the air. Touchdown, Michigan!
And Shep.
Do you believe this comeback?
Your favorite sports commentator as they tackle the hottest topics in the world of sports. Catch the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep, Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Get ready to laugh, learn, and love sports like never before. Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Baligian. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be than Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions. It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Like a frostbite straight from the divine. Cold rush on my skin feels so fine. Muscle freeze, he's a ache. No side effects, no mistake. Chill Sub-Zero, icy and true. Feel the chill. It's all for you. It's not magic, just science play. Chill Sub-Zero.
It's Wicked Pickle. If you guys see that QR code, go ahead and scan it to get a jump on this information because you guys want to be there. Michigan, I know you're ready. It's the biggest pickleball event of the year. No, I'm going to say of all time. The Woodward Sports Wicked Pickle Open, January 9th through the 11th. And we're kicking it off with a bang. Friday night at 7:30, the Woodward Sports Celebrity Tournament hits the court. All 4 shows throwing down, plus local celebs, and it's all broadcast live. Then the real battle begins. 3 days of non-stop pickleball, men's, women's, mixed, and singles divisions. This is where champions are made. So sign up now at pickleball tournaments or call Wicked Pickle at 734-331-3451. And you know what? I'm thinking I might need to have that massage chair number or something on standby, Cam.
I got you though, Kool-Aid Massage Chair House. I hear you're looking to upgrade your relaxation game, huh? Check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. The largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest, with top brands for massage chairs like Infinity and Osaki, located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road. Experience luxury, comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc, creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan the QR code. Massage Chair House, your ticket to the ultimate recovery and relaxation.
And we back. It sounded like he was doing that read from the massage chair.
Oh,
It did. He was super comfortable.
He just made me relax a little.
You brought up the Patriots, man. You talking about the Travion Henderson run, two great runs.
Yeah.
Notice the second run. The second run was the only offense that they had pretty much in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
That's because Sean McDermott said, "The hell with this. We're sending everything, including the kitchen sink." They blitzed young Drake May the whole second half, and you can see he was under duress and looked a little bit different than early on in the year when you're winning against the Cleveland Browns and teams like that. And the Travion Henderson run, it's like a reverse field. It's like a K9 run from the Michigan State-Michigan game.
Yeah.
Everybody blitzed this way. He was able to funnel it this way, and then everybody over-pursued, and he went back the opposite way. But they blitzed the hell out of Drake May in the second half.
Which team scores more points in the fourth quarter than any other team in the NFL?
Broncos?
Buffalo.
I'm tripping. You're right. It is Buffalo.
Buffalo does. And I only got that from the TV broadcast, all right? So I'm not sitting there doing this deep dive research, but they do it more than anybody.
That's why I don't trust them to win it all.
Yeah.
Because they're relying on the second half heroics and just the second half of the team in general. Like, we're a come-from-behind team. And they've been there since the very game of the season against the Baltimore Ravens. They came back in the fourth quarter to win that game. At some point, and you play a team that is better and it doesn't work. I don't know if that's the Broncos or if it's insert team here, but
I think it's the right word, trust.
Yeah.
I don't know who I trust, to be honest with you. Outside of maybe the Rams. I picked Green Bay over Denver yesterday because I trusted Green Bay more than I trusted Denver. I was wrong. Seattle should have lost to the Colts. Phillip Rivers is 44 years old. He's got a bit of a belly because of the beers he's been drinking on a Friday night after the high school game. And he's out. I know he only threw for 120 yards, but he made some pretty good plays. Got it to the right guys. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor does most of the work, but he still has to read it and so on and so forth.
He's starting again against the 49ers.
Man, so good breaking news.
The Packers were the right call. Like, everybody is the Broncos, there is respect there. I have a lot of respect for them. They won 11 at the crib, 15, et cetera, the whole run that they've been on. They play great complementary football, offense and defense, and the coach aspect that you asked. It was 23-14 before Micah Parsons got hurt.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons got hurt, and although they had not given up a sack while he still was playing, the pressures were there, throwing on the run, moving him off his box. Like, that was there. It was 23-14. Micah gets hurt. Pressure changes. They instantly scored that same drive after Micah got hurt, and then you start to pour it on. So I was just saying, you made the right call until one of the most obstructive players in the league gets hurt. It looks a little different.
So there's a few things. I mean, we could keep taking super chats, and in the chat, please feed the Lions information, but I always like talking football in general. So Myles Garrett gets a tackle for loss. It was actually a fumble. Otherwise, he would have set the record. He'll set it next week. There's no question about that.
Glad he wasn't injured, because you saw he came up lame a couple times yesterday. It looked like a hip pointer or something.
Well,
I'm glad he was good.
I think he's first of all, I really like him as an individual, and sometimes I let that cloud my judgment with players. I like guys who represent the league the right way, the Shield. I like guys who represent their name and represent their team. He could play on my team any day of the week. Let's put it that way. Not for that kind of money, but you understand my point.
Right.
Who they play next, he's going to set the record for most sacks in a single season. It's Buffalo. Maybe he won't, but I would guess he would. Nice. So that was one thing.
I love the fact that people can adapt their feelings. I guarantee if I'd asked you about Myles Garrett after 2018, he couldn't have played on your team. And that was when he pulled that helmet off and swung it at Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, look, I don't know if that would cancel him from somebody being on my team. Emotions get the best. Brian Branch could play on my team, and look at what he's done the last couple of years.
That's fair.
Diego Pavia, no. A guy like Myles Garrett, yes, because he's done it. I mean, he's walked the walk. But Patrick Mahomes, I feel bad for. I know how people feel about him here. Okay, I get it. All right, I'm not a huge fan of his wife either, but I do like him. Maybe you see too many State Farm commercials, whatever. So Patrick Mahomes felt bad. Micah Parsons felt bad. And, of course, Malik Neighbors earlier in the season. I think the other thing to take note of is that Jackson Dart is a guy, how many games has he played? Like 10? He's had a concussion in like half the games he's played.
He stays in there. They call him Blue Tent Dart.
Well,
he stays in that blue tent.
Yeah, he stays in that blue tent, and that's going to be a long-term issue if he keeps jumping or diving forward like J.J. McCarthy does too.
I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to have that conversation 3 weeks ago, and that conversation was about Jackson Dart, and the whole thing was, so he got that huge hit. Who were they playing? He got knocked out on the sideline. I can't remember. Then he goes into the blue tent. He comes back, and then he says after the game, he said, "Hey, I've been playing this style of football my whole life. This style of football got me here." And a lot of people supported it and said, "Hey, you want your guy to be like this. You want your guy to stand up and say, hey, look, this is the type of ball I play. I play fearless. I play aggressive. It's worked for me at this point. This is who I am." No, you don't. Because when you were doing that before, you weren't a potential $250 million quarterback.
Right.
You weren't a first 5 pick for your team type guy. Like, now you are. You can't play like that and operate like that. It does not last long if you continue to play with reckless abandonment. You can play and run and scramble and do those things, but you got to be smart. Russell Wilson, he legitimately scrambled for a very long time, and he didn't take those type of hits.
Yeah. And he was a better runner.
100%.
Russell Wilson. When he was in Seattle, in his prime, he was a better runner than Jackson Dart.
I'm just saying that there's quarterbacks that run and don't take those shots, and there's quarterbacks that do. Be more like Russell Wilson, less like Cam Newton.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to run out of bounds once in a while.
You can't be like him anyway. He's 6'6", 240.
Yeah, he's different. Yeah, he's an
That's
absolute,
Josh Allen, essentially.
Yeah, he's an absolute freak. Yeah. So, anyway, I want to get your thoughts on that. Patrick Mahomes Kansas City's out of the playoffs for the first time since 2014, 10 years, okay? And what Andy Reid has done there, what Patrick Mahomes has done there, it's been simply amazing. I don't know what it means for them next year. He's going to have to miss at least part of the season, okay, with his injury, because they say it's an 8-month recovery. You would know better than I would. But I don't think, and it could be the end of an era, but it really was, even though you got tired of them because they're not your franchise, it really was pretty special what they've been able to do.
No, definitely special, and it was a lot more fun to watch than the Patriots dynasty and what they did. I think this one looked a little bit different. I like the players more. It was more individuality around it. It was a lot of fun. It was some offense. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. I don't think it's the end of an era. I just think they have to switch it up now. I think they'll go through a period, maybe 2026, and where they're finding out how to move this team and move it around. He'll be fine with the ACL. He'll come back. I tore my ACL December 4th of 2005, and I literally started the season on September 11th in 2006. So he'll be back. He'll be fine. He'll wear knee brace, the special sauce, yada, yada. He'll be good. Problem is, when you're paying people $500 million and we got so much money tied up in a couple positions, he's like, at the end, it catches up. At the end, you can't pay everybody, and you start to work around when you're paying Chris Jones this money, left tackle this money, Travis Kelce, as well as McDuffie. These are 4 people getting paid. And there's a lot of money invested.
It's a Lions situation too, Braylon.
And that's coming down the pipeline. So when you don't win last year, when you don't win in the San Francisco, when you now may not make the playoff, it's when it hurts, because a lot of people have to get paid. A lot of people are getting paid, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing 2 things for the Chiefs: people having to get paid, and there not being a lot of money. Also, a lot of wear and tear. Guys are older. You've been running 9 years in a row. You've been playing in the Super Bowl. That's what? How many games? That's on average. You're playing 20 games a year. Like that adds up. It adds up on the body. You see Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, after the loss last week, not even this week, he's on the podcast. You saw that, Cam. He's on the podcast with Jason Kelce. I just don't know what's happening. I'm not the same. I can't get here. I can't get that. Yo, it's called age. Yeah. It's called experience. It's called being banged up. It's called being in the playoffs, getting to February every year for 9 years. You had the money and you had the physicality. They're in need of a break.
Yeah, it's going to catch up to you at some point.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got to – every team – this is why I think there is so much angst when it comes to Lions fans, because – we'll use the phrase that I hate to use, but we'll use the window phrase, okay? Because you saw Kansas City, who did they end up losing? Tyreek Hill, right? You saw a team like San Francisco lose Deebo Samuel, right? So when you lose certain key guys and big-name players and big-time contributors, do you believe in your front office to fill that void? Yeah. And in those places, obviously they did, and for good reason.
And then you miss.
And then sometimes you miss.
Like in the draft. Like they as soon as they got rid of Tyreek Hill, or they weren't allowed to pay him, so he went on to Miami. Now you draft Sky Moore. Hey, here's our answer. It's Sky Moore.
Right. From Western Michigan.
Exactly. That didn't work out. Then it's Xavier. Then it's just a long list of wide receivers that you're trying to replace the speed of Tyreek Hill. He just wasn't a fast receiver. He also was a damn good receiver too. And when you're doing that, so sometimes you miss.
Yeah, and also a leader. And they had to go through coordinators, by the way, because Eric Bieniemy was a hell of a coordinator. Should have gotten more of a look, you would think, as a head coach somewhere. But he was a really important piece to their success.
He struggled, too.
They moved on without him.
He struggled in Washington. He was in Washington the year before. Right. What's the name? Cliff Kingsbury got there. Right. He was there and it just didn't look good. Who was his quarterback? The guy from North Carolina. Oh, Heineke.
Yeah.
Heineke and Sam Howell.
Yeah, Sam Howell. Right. Any more super chats before we hit a break and come on back?
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's see here. One from Randall Small. So he sent in another one. He has that #1 crown right now. $5 super chat. If you lose a weapon, you change. Nola Porter, then run 2 backs. So he's looking for. What's the offensive solution with Sam Laporta?
He wants more Montgomery and Gibbs.
More 2-back sets.
Right. So he would probably more like 21 personnel, right? 12 personnel. 12 personnel.
It's 12 personnel, yeah. I think you'll see it this week. I think this past week against the Rams, I think they were just nervous. I think they were scared. In terms of, I don't know if it's factual, if it's right, but I think in terms of them being able to pass like they do, them being able to score like they do and not make mistakes, I think they tried to stay away from it. It didn't work, but I think that's more so what it is. You'll see it against the Steelers, who I think they should beat, and I don't know about the Vikings. So that's going to be another tough one.
Yeah, and then, of course, the Bears, too. And I'm telling you, man, that Bears defense is real. I mean, the last 2 games they play, Minnesota and Chicago, those are going to be good conversations leading up to it. By the way, the win against the Bears, if Detroit wins the next 2 games, Chicago loses one of the games against Green Bay or San Francisco, you would think they would flex that to a Sunday night game, don't you think?
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there?
It makes sense to me.
That's a factor, you guys, because sun goes down, all right?
Jeez, yeah.
Suddenly it gets a lot colder by the lake.
How fast it changes, though. Like, how quick it changes. Like, we were legitimately in this space for the last 2 years where it's like Lions over everybody, Lions this, that, and the third. We own this space. It's
Kings of the North.
It's the Lions' time, all this kind of stuff. The Kings of the North, 100%, little Game of Thrones reference right there. Oh, yeah, we won't go behind the Vikings. I like what you did there, Cam. We won't supplant behind the Bears. And in 1 year, now the Lions and now fans, and we're talking about, if this happens, the Lions can get here. If this happens, should we be talking about the draft this early? It happens fast. That's why when you get a lead, when you get ahead, you got to stay ahead. You got to adapt, evolve, and you got to continue to do the things to keep you ahead of pace. You can't just think, I'm here.
I can't help but wonder, and this would never be told publicly, what is Brad Holmes learning through this whole experience? Because this is a little bit of a reality check, I think, for Detroit.
Right.
This is a stunning situation right now with this team. I get that injuries, but injuries happen to everybody, all right? Bad calls, okay. You know what? I hate to tell people this. I mean, I heard this morning. Oh, my gosh, the Rams only had two penalties. Detroit had 4. Now, a lot depends on where you're getting them and at what point, okay? And we can complain about certain officiating, absolutely, especially on the Parkinson touchdown. But overall, this is.
What are your thoughts on that? Never mind, I cut you off.
I didn't understand it. He's either down at the 1, or he didn't catch the ball. I didn't think there's any way you could have caught the ball and gone into the end zone because the defensive player's right there with him.
Right.
Look, when you have a rules analyst and you have a multi Super Bowl champion, 7-time Super Bowl champion, both saying, okay, this is down at the 1 at the worst because you can't tell on the catch.
Right.
You couldn't tell. If it was called incomplete on the field, you could understand it. If it's called complete, then okay, there's nothing that can overturn it. And, of course, we saw what was the one, the Buffalo game, the Buffalo-New England. That should have been an interception, for crying out loud. downfield. I mean, the refereeing this year has been terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't understand how it could have been. Did you get it? How could that be a touchdown?
I did, but it's for how it came off.
Mm-hmm.
For how it came off, there wasn't enough. Video evidence. There wasn't enough video evidence on that play to support what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
If Kobe Parkinson was right side up instead of knee in his back and going down that way to where you're kind of hiding the ball and you can't see, if he's laying on his back, falling in the end zone, and the ball is moving, but the ball never leaves his chest or never leaves a part of him, and he's still moving, and finally when he gets in the end zone, he puts his hands on the ball stays still, that's called a touchdown. That's called a touchdown because he finally secured the catch once he was in the end zone, so it's a touchdown. Like it's happened to me before, where I'm like made a catch and I'm in the end zone falling, the ball's moving, and then by the time I finally caught it, I was at the back of the end zone, I had 2 feet in, and it was a touchdown.
Okay.
But the ball finally stopped once I crossed the goal line and made the touchdown. That's what happened. The problem is you can't see that. So the fact that you can't see that, it's unfair for them to call that a touchdown. That has to be down at the 1.
Right. What I could see is that his knee was down before the ball touched the goal line.
Yeah.
And
right.
you do not have to have any special degree in looking at videotape or understanding the rule book in the NFL for you to know that if indeed your knee or your elbow is down before the ball crosses the goal line, you are down at that yard marker.
Even if you don't
Wasn't that hard.
But even if you haven't secured the catch, like if you're not finishing or completing the catch process.
But how do you know when he secured the catch when you can't use video evidence to either overrule it in the first place?
And that's why I was saying, like, that's why I said what it is, they didn't show you enough. So it should have been down at the 1.
Yeah.
But what it was finishing, completing the catch process, which actually finished in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
But because you can't see that, they shouldn't have been allowed to call that.
Yeah.
But here's the other part. It's down at the 1. They've been running the ball on you all damn game. It's still going to be a touchdown.
Well, I suppose so.
Like it was the 1. It wasn't like it wasn't like it was a 1. It wasn't like it was the 14.
No, I get it. But here's what happens sometimes, and this is me reaching. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll take the arrows.
I'll indulge.
I'll take the arrows. Guys get illegal motion. Guys get penalties on holding. Guys get penalty on lining up incorrectly.
True.
And fumbles happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, Stafford had problems with his snapper, his long snapper.
Yeah, he
his
kept
center
having to
a couple of times.
yeah,
Okay.
twice over. Yeah.
So
Still,
I know. In all likelihood, I would say it was a 95 or above percentile where they're probably going to score. But if you give me that small percentile, I'll take it as a defense. What if you hit them for a tackle for loss? What if you jar it loose? Kyren Williams, you and I have talked about this all season long.
He'll give you one.
Yeah, he's a guy who's fumbled. He did it against San Francisco at the 1 yard line.
He did it 2 weeks ago.
There you go. Yeah. So to say that, well, they're going to score no matter what, I'm not buying that. A defense wants the opportunity, and there's been too many examples this year alone that has indicated something could have changed.
Yep. Especially when you look at some of these Detroit Lions teams of old who have been able to rely on the opportunistic takeaways in the red zone. And we've seen that defensive line in the last couple of years. They played stout in those types of goal line situations, 3rd and 4th and goal. So I would have liked to see them at least have that chance in a game where they're supposed to be fighting for everything. But the chat doesn't believe that it would have mattered for the Detroit Lions yesterday.
Yeah, and I get it because it's the overwhelming majority. As we've talked about, I like Kyren Williams a lot. Last year, I had him on my fantasy football team, and didn't help me really. But this year, earlier this year against San Francisco, against the Niners, where San Francisco upset them, he fumbled on the 1 yard line. He had it punched out. Twice, Matthew Stafford had to make some really good plays on some bad snaps. And let's say he goes under center and turns. There have been holding penalties. All these different things could happen. So I'm not willing to just wave it off and say it never could have happened because I think there is a possibility there. Anything else in the super chat before we hit a quick timeout?
Let's take a quick one.
All right, we'll take a quick one. Let's tell you this from Les Stanford. I'm going there today, actually.
Is that the first time the Lions have put up 30-plus, had no turnovers, and still lost?
It's a good question. 34 points. If I said I'll give
34 and no turnovers, I say you won.
All right, if I gave you that before the game, before kickoff, you'd take it.
Against the Rams, it was tough, but I still would take it. No, because you're talking about clean football. 34 points, clean football. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have took it.
For the most part. 4 penalties isn't a lot either.
No, it's not. It's 2.5. That's 1 quarter. That's not bad.
Yeah. Problem, each team had 11 drives. They averaged
second half, man.
Yeah, they averaged 9 yards per pass play.
The lines were 6, per play, something like that.
6.4. Yeah. Les Stanford, great offers for the entire month of December. I'm going there today. 2026 Silverado Crew Cab LT, lowest $189 a month plus tax. You can drive off with that Cadillac XT6. That's it right there for only $359 a month plus tax. You like that car?
I need that.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's got you written all over it. Or the 2026 Buick Enclave for as low as $299 a month plus tax. Go to lesstanford.com today. Check out their massive inventory and all the great deals. That's what I'm doing. lesstanford.com.
Jack's Car Wash is the wash where you should take that car once you get it from Les Stanford, man. It is the car wash used, the best car wash in the state. Now the sun's out. Now you see what I mean. The sun's out. When you got the sun out, you go to Jack's. Car looks nice. We'll get you free car wash. WSN, text that to 888-522-1729. That is, again, 888-522-1729. 40 locations around the great state of Michigan. It is the best car wash in the state. They have partnered up with Woodward Sports, and we want to get you in the game, man. Pull up on them, and don't forget about the unlimited plan that can get you all the things you need and all the amenities.
All the smoke.
There you go.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new phase, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shepard Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or Bust Lions network.
Doing good. Catch him every Tuesday on Big D Energy as well as Thursdays here on the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep. Scan that QR code or call 248-426-9944. Also, he shares that top tier advice. Trust the guy we trust, and that's Dr. Jeff Pierce.
Oh, Buddy's Pizza.
Wouldn't
that be great tonight? I mean, you're watching the Monday night. I know it's Miami and Pittsburgh, but you're watching it, okay? You're going to watch that, and you're going to watch the Pistons and Celtics. You're flipping back and forth. One hand is on the clicker. The other hand should be on a piece of Buddy's Pizza. They right now have the holiday season deals going for you. Receive a free 4-square one-topping pizza voucher with every $50 gift card purchase now through the end of 2025. If you want to host some type of holiday party, you can have it catered by Buddy's, or if you go into Buddy's right now, you can get it for $15 per person, all you can eat. Go to buddyspizza.com and check it out.
And we back, and you know what, Bray and Shep, Derek Barnes and these linebackers have kind of taken over this chat right now. I'm seeing Shogun Shua said Barnes, Campbell, and Ansel were no-shows yesterday. Steve Wiles thinks that Barnes stinks. M-Dub says Derek Barnes was getting smoked yesterday on the bootleg and on the Blake Corum run. And there's a whole lot more Derek Barnes or Steve Wiles. Barnes, I didn't even notice him playing. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, he wasn't the only defensive player
Those
that you can
linebackers,
actually
man.
say that about. But no, they're linebackers. We kind of had this conversation a little bit last week. Like, I don't like them in coverage. They're not necessarily that good in space. Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes particularly. But Alex Anzalone, he definitely wasn't necessarily a factor, although he did tip a pass that would have been a Devontae Adams touchdown. When Devontae Adams had his feet, had him planted on the right there out of bounds. That would have been a touchdown. He tipped the pass. They ended up having to sell it for a field goal. But other than that, I agree with the chat. There was a lot of exposing of them in coverage yesterday.
Yeah, I get it. Like I said earlier,
Giants started it though.
You spent a lot of money on Aleem McNeil, and he came back from injury. He had one good game, the first game back. Since that time, have you heard his name called at all? Did anybody hear the name of Tyleek Williams or DJ Reader yesterday or Marcus Davenport?
DJ Reader still on the team?
He's still on the team. Actually started yesterday. Marcus Davenport. I get it. I'm not saying that we should omit talking about any of Detroit's linebackers, because I don't disagree with that. And I think sometimes when you look at numbers, like Jack Campbell had 14 tackles, 10 solos, sometimes maybe we get that overshadows maybe some of the mistakes that he did make. Okay, so don't tell me he didn't make a mistake. And you know how much I like him. He's one of my favorite players. But there's other guys who, Aleem McNeil wasn't even on the stat sheet, Braylon. He played 52, 53 snaps. Wasn't on the stat sheet. That to me makes no sense. How are you going to win if your starters at any position are that unproductive? You can't.
100%. Providing a competent roster falls on general manager.
Any more?
Oh yeah, people continue to support the super chats. So shout out again to you all. But
we appreciate you guys. I know this is a tough day for you guys. The Lions lost to the Rams in the game that looked like it could have been a hand early on. It's a lot. So we appreciate you guys for rocking with us. And we ain't blowing no smoke. We telling all the truth over here.
Yeah, that's well said, and especially because a lot of these folks probably saw the other two shows too. With Sean Baligian and Maz this morning, and then Neil and Terry Foster earlier this afternoon. So you giving us the time and willing to engage is really important to us, and we appreciate it very much. So go ahead.
Man, look, this is to keep a real crew. And Natalie sends in another super chat.
Natalie's on fire. She's on fire.
She says, is the media around the team too soft on Brad and Dan? I see no constructive criticism. And I've seen people in the chat say they're actually here today because they understand y'all going to keep it real.
I would have to read a little bit more and see how the media has been going at him today, and kind of like the season. I kind of tapped a little in and out. But in the past, the media did go at him, and I think the media was, and that's what the comments I talk about with Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes kind of trolled them at the end of the last two seasons. So I think they kind of backed up off of Holmes based on that, and they're kind of just letting things play out. This is Detroit, though. Detroit won't be too nice for too long, Shep. Maybe you have a difference of opinion. I think at the end of the season, I think you're going to see a lot of things come down the pipeline.
Yeah, I think
question-wise,
I think the media has been relatively fair in bringing up that Brad Holmes hasn't done what he was supposed to be doing. I think I don't know what we consider to be too hard.
Yeah.
I think you and I are professional about our opinions, keep it real, but also are willing to say, listen, this team hasn't been good enough, okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go out there and say, should you be fired? Are you worried about your job? And all these other things. If that's what you think is tough, then I would strongly disagree with that. I think there's been plenty of headlines and plenty of articles about why the Lions have not been as successful this year as we expected him to. I do wonder if you think that's about the Lions, how come nothing like that was about the Tigers when they were going on? How come nobody feels that way about Steve Yzerman as a general manager when that's going on?
One, because they don't love those teams as much as they love the Lions, and then two, they don't believe that those teams in the last 2-3 years have been as good as the Lions have been in the last 2-3 years.
Okay.
Like the Pistons last year, and I know you say as well as Lindsey, but that team's coming off of 14 wins the year before that, and then last year it happens. I guess the Pistons weren't mentioned by you, but the Tigers, the Tigers, it's like they did something that had never been done before when they made the postseason 2 seasons ago.
Right.
And this year it was like, do you still believe what they were?
Well, they did something that nobody's ever done before this season, too. It's just in the wrong way.
Exactly. And a lot of people didn't necessarily buy into what the Tigers were the year before. They were using this year to see. Yeah. And then it's like, we believe. And then you have the end and how it ended. So.
Well, remember, I said, who says it couldn't happen the other way? And people in the chat were pissed off at me like nobody's business. Yeah. And I get it, but it's exactly what happened.
We tracked that month by month, too, dog. Like, I mean, honestly, for the baseball season, you were right post All-Star break. And Bray, from the beginning of the season, he's kind of talked about what this division is going to look like, and it's crazy to see it playing out like that right now.
Green Bay. And by the way, I mean, I've been probably more wrong than right on a lot of these things, but all I'm saying is when it comes to criticizing teams – I think Braylon's right. People are more passionate about the Lions because it's once a week, and you got 5 flipping days to bitch and moan about it or praise the team. Whereas with the Tigers, it's, you could talk about it for a short period of time. They could change your mind tonight, And the same thing with the Pistons and perhaps the Red Wings. So I understand where you're coming from. Go ahead. Anything else that you want to get to?
Let me see here. Yeah, there was one about the catch as well from Ronald Frazier, 499. He says, it should have been an incomplete pass or down at the 1 because when he turned over on his back, the ball was still moving.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It was, but was it moving on the ground? Like therein lies the difference, but you couldn't see it, so it's a tough conversation to have.
Yeah.
Like 1 yard line, because you couldn't see anything else, but they –
I just don't see how you call it both.
Yeah.
That's all. On Friday, we talked about the Heisman, and we said, how do you think it's going to go? You and I both thought Fernando Mendoza would win it from Indiana. He did. And he won it, I would say, rather comfortably. Okay. Now, Diego Pavia, I thought would finish 4th, and it finished 2nd. I thought it would be Sayin 2nd, and I thought Love would finish 3rd, and then Pavia. Pavia finishes 2nd. Afterwards, not a great look from Diego Pavia. He's a competitor, which, great, okay. It was a dream.
His apology.
I get it. This is his apology after he said F all the voters. Mom and Dad should probably quickly get in there and say, what the hell is wrong with you? And I would hope your coach, Clark Lee, would do the same. What was your take on that, considering you've been in that discussion before and you felt the heartbreak to a certain extent?
As it relates to him, this is who he is because this is what his coach allows him to be. This is what his parents allow him to be. He's this every day. So when it happened, I wasn't surprised.
Okay.
I was like, this is who Diego Pavia is. This is who we allow him to be. How many people cheer his antics on social media, including his coach, including his parents?
Well, they did the same thing with your buddy, Manziel, when he did this stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been surprised if he would have done this, if he wouldn't have won.
That would
have been crazy if he didn't. But no, I don't – that part, this is who he is. This is who we've allowed him to be, so it doesn't surprise me. But you just can't do things like this because you're actually representing something a little bit more. You're a quarterback, and you're representing franchises. And when you're looking at who's looking at you to see maybe you can represent their team or be what they are, things like this, they come back. You at the end of the day to say F the voters, you're basically saying F Mendoza.
Yeah,
that's right. What it comes down to.
That's right.
You're basically saying F Mendoza. Because to say F the voters, you mean that you clearly perceive yourself to be better, have had a better season, to have gotten, jobbed, as they say. So that means you're better than him. So you're saying F Mendoza. I don't like that aspect of it.
I don't like it either. And in this apology, Fernando Mendoza is an elite competitor, deserving winner of the award. I have nothing but respect for his accomplishments as well as the success that Jeremiah Love and Julian Sayin had this season. Later on, talks about his family. He's grateful that doesn't want anything to distract from that. You did distract from it. You've distracted from that all season long.
But when you see text, tweets, posts,
yeah,
when you see all that coming
Instagram stuff
in the morning at nightclubs, you know what time it is. That's that liquid courage.
That's exactly what it is. All right, final timeout.
We've all been there before.
And then we'll be back to wrap things up on a Monday on a very fast-moving Braylon Edwards show here on Woodward Sports.
Great conversation.
Now, this isn't a Victory Monday as it relates to going to Black Rock, man, and getting you some.
That's because Kool-Aid doesn't have sunglasses on.
Fun. But Black Rock is still the place for you. You still should pull up on them, man. It's a sizzle above the rest, and the menu has evolved. They've added new things to the menu while still keeping some of the things here. Those $20 platters still there. The sirloin is here to stay. And then don't forget, you may not get a free app today, but if you go to a Black Rock Bar and Grill and you mention Woodward Sports, thank you, sir, you still get 20% off your total food bill. Now, you can't beat that. They're everywhere around this state. All you got to do is pull up on them. And don't forget, home of steak on the stove.
Love walking through Lady Jane's a little bit, talking to some of the ladies, but also overhearing some of the conversations taking place. Like this guy's telling her exactly what he needs, like he knows. And also saying, I got to get clean for the holidays. That's exactly what it's about. That's why they're really busy, but they are constantly mopping the floor, cleaning the shelves, making it look right and making you feel comfortable. There's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It is wicked awesome.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Head to woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com.
If I told you you could place any bet up to $1,000, if you lose, you get that bet back, would you think I'm crazy? Scan this QR code, enter the code Woodward1000, and if your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get your deposit back up to $1,000. That's right, up to one whole stack back, just for giving it a shot. Minimum bet just $20. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today, the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports. Use the code Woodward1000 or scan the QR code on the screen.
Wicked Pickle Westland, turn up.
How about that?
Yeah.
Pistons and Celtics tonight. Who do you got?
I have the Pistons. Pistons are mad that the Celtics are the one that stopped them from breaking their own win games in a row, which was 13. The Celtics halted that, so I think there's still a little bit of that. And the Pistons are playing at a good place. I saw the 142 on Friday, played well over the weekend as well. So I think this will be a really good win for them. You always talk about a good win or this win or that win. This is a better win than Atlanta, if you will. So,
yeah, I don't look at things like our measuring stick games or anything like that, but I do find this would be a hell of a win for them. I think most wins are. Don't get me wrong. I hate it when people say, "Well, these are empty wins." I had somebody on Saturday when we went out to dinner, and they said, "Yeah, the Lions have a lot of empty calorie wins." And it's ironic because we were sitting down to dinner. I said, "What do you mean by that?" And they said, "Well, teams that you're supposed to beat." Okay, so they don't have a signature win. I said, but if you don't win those games, how are you going to get to 10 or 11? Every game in the National Football League is pretty important. That's factual, because in order for you to get to where you want to go, you've got to beat all those teams. Okay, so I don't think it's necessarily a measuring stick game for the Pistons, but I do like the fact that it's a possible bounce back against a specific team, and I think what's been a better team than I think a lot of people thought, considering Jason Tatum's been out. So I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that. Kool-Aid, do we have any more before we're out of here on a Monday?
Not any more super chats. We do have some questions that people sent in.
All right, fire away.
Yeah, definitely. Randall Smalls, he says, is it ironic that the last two games against the Lions, their opponents had 0 penalties?
Well, the Rams had 2 penalties.
Yeah.
Rams had 2 penalties. Yeah.
And
Dallas didn't have penalties? Or are you talking about the losses?
Let me see here.
Let's stop.
Hey, clarify it. Clarify it, Rando.
Hold on. Let's stop looking for stuff now. Come on, Rando. You one of my faves. Let's not start going looking for things that are against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I think the only team that didn't have penalties against Detroit this year was Kansas City.
Yeah, KC did.
Yeah.
How's that working out for them?
Yeah, they had 9 penalties the next day, by the way.
Shout out to I Ain't Say That. He just sent in a $2 super chat asking if there's any Pistons post game tonight. We're actually doing a watch party and a post game tonight. So tap in after the heavies. Y'all got to watch the heavies too.
So you're going to be here for a while.
Oh yeah, gonna run and probably get a little bite, and then right back here and have some fun with the fellas tonight while we watch the Pistons win again. Shout out G Mac.
I think
you'll be in that conference room before you go there.
Yeah. I might not get that bite.
What?
Thumbs up or thumbs down that Jalen Duren gets a double-double tonight?
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Thumbs up.
It's been a minute.
He's averaging 18 and 11, right? I think those are his numbers. 18 and 11. He's not
jump.
Huh?
What a jump.
Yeah. I mean, well, remember he fell back a little bit last year.
Yeah.
So, and you know how I feel about him. He's probably my favorite Piston. Even though a lot of the easy answer is Cade Cunningham. I've always been like that as a kid. Everybody likes one guy. I gotta like somebody else.
I will say this though, I'm not going to any more Pistons games unless they're playing like
what?
Like hear me out.
No.
Unless
they win when you're there.
Listen,
didn't you go on Friday?
Listen, and unless they're playing top tier competition, because when I got to the game, I ain't even see Cade, Jalen, Tobias. I didn't see anybody for the first 10 minutes of the game. I'm just sitting there like, la-da-da.
Your mojo was just too powerful.
I'm watching. you know who's getting all the rebounds and points. I'm like, here's Beef Stew. Here's Ryan Hollins again. I said, who are these guys? And then a guy came out there in a short sleeve T-shirt underneath. I said, who are you? I didn't even know who this guy was.
You're a former usher. What's going on?
Cade and them are on the bench. They're laughing. They're frolicking, having a good time. I'm like, man, I ain't coming to see this.
That's so funny.
That's how good they are, though. They're a very deep team. That's what we talked about last year.
Yeah, I love it.
They're 9-10 deep. So you can have the ability to spell your guys on a night where you don't need them and still score 142. So I get it. I'm just telling you, I'm either going to start leaving in the first quarter or I'm waiting for certain games like the Celtics.
All it takes is you showing up, and they seem to win. So get on that flight to Boston real quick. By the way, before we leave, quick shout-out to the Grand Rapids Griffins, which is the American Hockey League team and the affiliate of the Detroit Red Wings. They have one regulation loss. Excuse me.
Surprised you with that one.
Yeah, surprised me with that one. One regulation loss. 24 games. They are 22-1-0-1. It is a new AHL record.
Wow.
In the history of that league,
fire.
and it's been around a long time, that has never happened. So
didn't they just take somebody up, though? Somebody just got stolen for
They did.
Yeah,
Their leading scorer comes up. Eric Gustafson goes back down. We'll talk Pistons, Lions, college football, and a whole lot more tomorrow because the first round of the college football playoff is sneaking up on us.
It is.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We're back with you tomorrow. 2 o'clock here on the Braylon Edwards Show. The heavyweights coming up at 5. And don't forget, the watch party.
Great
with
first show,
Kool-Aid
Cam.
coming
Let's
up.
go.
Good job, Cam.
Good job, Cam.
Looking for your daily sports fix? Look no further. Join Braylon Edwards, the University of Michigan legend.
Lofting it right corner of the end zone for Braylon, up in the air. Touchdown, Michigan!
And Shep.
Do you believe this comeback?
Your favorite sports commentator as they tackle the hottest topics in the world of sports. Catch the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep. Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Get ready to laugh, learn, and love sports like never before.